Alright, so let's talk about Sports Story. This is a game that was announced in 2019 and set to release in 2020. It was then delayed 2 years and finally dropped here in mid to late December. So was it worth the wait, or is it better left forgotten? I'll be going over a bit of the game's story and how it plays, then my final thoughts on if I ultimately recommend Sports Story. Let's get into it. It was developed and published by Sidebar Games, released on December 23rd, 2022. It's available at the moment only on the Nintendo Switch and is going for $14.99 US. I would categorize this game as an indie adventure sports RPG with elements of comedy. The story is set in a world surrounded by sports, specifically the Pure Strike company, which is trying to monopolize everything, monetize everything, and unite all different sports any way they can. You play as the main protagonist alongside your two friends and your uncle coach as they reach a beach resort. You're there for relaxing but also sports training. Which sports? Well, initially golf, but you soon try your hand at some volleyball, tennis, and then fighting off pirates, a Yakuza-like group, and then exploring some dungeons? It's a wacky world where all bets are off what's gonna happen next. The gameplay is a mix of exploration, fetch quest, minigames, and then finally some sports segments. The overworld is split into various locations you'll be running back and forth between. These maps are where the majority of gameplay lies, as you'll have to explore each one with a fine-tooth comb to complete main quests, side quests, and other optional activities. Initially, a lot of these locations and activities are locked off. You have to get your sports license to various levels before you can even enter specific locations and play some sports. On each map, you'll primarily be playing 1 to 2 sports to various degrees. First, you'll start running around, talking to NPCs who will further the story along, giving you quests to do. These can range from simple fetch quests, minigames involving the sports, and even weirder tasks like racing pool floats and helping birds out of a cage. These usually culminate in improving your sports level and your license. You'll get new skills, extra cash, and upgrade your license to move on to other maps and sports and repeats. And that's pretty much Sports Story in a nutshell. So what do I think about the game overall? Would I recommend it? And what are some good and bad things about the game? So really quick, right off the bat, this is not a sponsored video. I was not given a key. I bought it myself. This is a game that has been out for been delayed for 2 years. I thought they were really working on it, but I don't know. I guess my expectations were a little too high. I simply just did not like the game. I found it to be very slow-paced, a little boring, and it was primarily a lot of dialogue and more random fetch quests that I would have liked rather than the actual sports. And when you did get to the sports, a lot of them were like little mini games. Now, it's not bad that it's like this, but it's like simple controls, simple tasks. A lot of them are just, you're not really playing a full, let's say a game of tennis, you're not playing a full volleyball. You're just simply doing a little bit of that stuff and then moving on and doing other things. I don't know, I think the pacing is just a little too slow. However, I think a good upside to this game is the dialogue was decent if you can sit down and read it all. It has some good comedy. I laughed out loud a couple of times. I think people who really like their other game that came out, I think it was just called Golf Story, I think it's very, very similar in that regard. Now, I was talking to some other people, and they had some of these issues. First of all, we did not like that there's no autosave in this game. So if you actually, if you don't save it, you crashed out, which happened quite often. You're gonna lose a lot of progress. Save breaking issues, like I mentioned, crashes, which totally just destroys the pacing of things. There are frame drops that some people were having that I read. I personally did not get to those. But for some people, it was really bad because there's a lot of time-based sort of mini-games and puzzles. For example, the golf, you have to hit the button to, get the power, and then you have to time it so it's the correct power, and then you time it once again to get your accuracy down. If the frame drops in certain areas, it's really going to mess things up. But as mentioned, yeah, the Golf Story charm and comedy is there, but my God, I don't know what I was expecting. It's just very little actual gameplay. Yeah, you're running around the map, the overworld, you're talking to NPCs who have maybe some interesting things to say, give you quests, give you money, blah 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 blah, but it's just like, talk to this guy, go over here, pick up this trash, throw it here. This guy wants an orange token. Okay, I'll go talk to this guy. Oh, I'm gonna go deliver juice here. I'm gonna go run around this map and find some keys to open up a birdcage. It's, you know, I don't know. It's called Sports Story, and I guess that's, you know, the title doesn't lie. It's a story surrounding sports, but I really just was expecting more. And I think this is the detriment of them just having to delay it for so long, for 2 to 3 years. And I just expected more, but I guess, you know, it's an indie game. It's only $15, so, you know, just warning you, it's a decent game, but don't go in expecting something high action or anything like that. It's a chill game that you just sit around, talk, a little bunch of mini games, etc. So I suggest, if you really like Golf Story and you want more of that, go ahead. But otherwise, I think the minimum you should pick this up is probably around a sale of $8, even though it's a cheap game already. It's just, it just feels like it's missing something. Now, obviously, the problems people were having, the frame issues and all that stuff, the crashes, that can be fixed in the future if they do fix it. And if they do, wonderful, it's playable. I would recommend wait a little bit, see if they patch it, and then pick it up, maybe even on a sale, $8 to $10. But otherwise, I don't know. This was unfortunately just disappointing for me. I do like the graphics, the comedy. The story is interesting, but once again, it's just it's like a slog. It is really slow to get through anything at all. But if that's your pace, by all means, jump in, have fun, support these developers. But for me, it just wasn't. It just didn't hit the mark for me. And that's pretty much it. That's it. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. It helps a lot. If you have any sub for daily reviews, let me know what you guys think down below of Sports Story. Have you tried it yourself? Do you completely disagree with what we have to say here? And if you do, hey, no problem, let me know your opinion. Maybe you can you know, convince some other people why it's a good game or why it's a bad game in your opinion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.